So I think we can start. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. As energy is nowadays one of the hottest topics due to the global warming and the war in Ukraine, I'm very glad to start this webinar with OGGA about this thematic, why EnOcean is the answer to massive deployment of energy efficiency solutions. Actually, as we all know, we certainly have reached, next please, Lada. We certainly need it will be very hard the next days and the next months, with the allocation of energy as consequence of the lack of resource. And we will have to decide, certainly at the end of the year, which industry will be more strategic or which usages, heating, transportation, alimentation, and so on. So it's going to be very tough. And the best way today is first to anticipate this situation of lack of energy, of lack of resources, already end of the year, and to start massive deployment of energy efficiency and have a plan in Europe to reduce our consumption, our energy consumption, as consequence of the war in Ukraine. And, and for this reason, I mean, as buildings represent 45% of global energy consumption, and among them 70% for residential buildings, strong measures need to be taken in favor of energy efficiency. That means first, inform all users in real time about their consumption, what is not the case, and adapt consumption in real time to usages in every building, straight now. And also, at the same time, deploy this solution which will be according to demand response. That means being able to get data of this energy efficiency solution and be able to adjust consumption to global capacity in real time according to user preferences and adapt consumption to capacity, local production, energy storage, time shift consumption, for instance, boiler, electrical vehicle, electrical heaters, and so on. This is crucial, and we have not to wait. But we need to have the right technology, the right solution. And therefore, EnOcean, I want to show you that EnOcean is one of the most appropriated technology next. Why? Because the prerequisite for this strong energy revolution and this strong deployment of solution is first to be able to deploy very rapidly and without intrusion in every building solutions. And therefore, wireless is a must. Of course, this solution needs to be sustainable. We don't need to remove batteries every 2 years. This has no sense. And therefore, battery-free is a must. It needs also to be scalable because it has a cost, and sometimes people have not so much money. But if they can install a first set of solutions, and that this first set of solutions will pay the investment of new other solutions. For instance, first set of solutions will bring 20% energy efficiency, and this efficiency will pay the other solution, which will bring again 20 or 40%. That means at the end we have 30% energy efficiency or more. This is very important. And it's so, therefore, if it's scalable, we need to have open standards and interoperable solution. It needs also to be plug and play in order to be able to deploy the solution very easily. And therefore, remote commissioning is a must. Of course, we are speaking about energy. Energy is strategic. So we cannot afford cyber attack. And it needs to be very secured. And therefore, encryption and all in code is a must. Of course, we are speaking also of global warming. Therefore, the solution which will be deployed needs to be with the lowest carbon footprint. And once again, if there is no battery and no wire, of course, the carbon footprint is very low. These are very low-tech solutions for high performance. And at the end, the cost is also an issue. And the cost not only in investment, but in the duration of the project. The best overall cost and the best ROI is a prerequisite. And here too, the technology of EnOcean, wireless, battery-free, open standard, interoperability is the answer to this. And is really the answer for the best overall cost. And that's the reason why already these solutions are deployed in a lot of buildings, in a lot of schools, in a lot of housings. Next. And I want here to highlight the question of, or the thematic of batteries. I can tell you, 10 years ago, I was speaking about that, battery-free, to people, and they were saying, well, battery is not a problem. You know, every 10 years we remove the product, we remove the thermostat, we remove the heating valve, and even if it's every 3 years, no problem. What? Today, we know what we have issue with global warming, with CO2, with carbon footprint. No way, no way. And another point is the cost. Do you know what is the cost of removing one battery in a building, in a housing? It's more than 25 euro per sensor. And now we are speaking to social housing. We are maintaining 100,000 of social housing. Can you imagine if there is one guy changing the batteries? Then it's not one guy. It's 100 guys paid every day to remove the batteries in all the buildings. This is not possible, unbelievable, unaffordable. And that's the reason why batteryless is a must. Now, next, you will ask me, well, how it works? How does it work? Battery free. It's very important, very easy. That's the next point. The next point is how it works. Actually, battery free works next, please. Ladder. Battery free works with kinetic energy, pushing or pulling, for instance, a switch, very easy, but also opening a door, opening a window. I tell you one thing, you know the German scandal of social housing. Billions of euros have been invested in every social housing, isolating buildings, and at the end, no energy efficiency. Why? Because people were opening their windows because it was well isolated and they wanted to breathe fresh air. That's a scandal. And we can afford it, that people open the windows. But if they open the windows, then it needs to cut the heating. You don't will heat the atmosphere. I tell you, this is a very important point. And therefore, using kinetic energy, when you open the window, it cuts the heating or the cooling. It's very important. Solar energy is also very important. Solar energy is the energy from the sun or from the light. just with a PV cell, you get enough energy to power a sensor, thermostat, temperature sensor, multi-sensor, what else? Another point which is very important is thermal energy. It's difference of temperature. Using this difference of temperature, you can power, for instance, a heating valve and also communicate with a thermostat. That means you have a heating valve, autonomous, no wire, no batteries. And for very long time, I can tell you already heating valves have been installed in the French schools in Paris, more than 600 schools, and it's still working. It works very well. And I give you one figure. In Europe, there are 1 billion of heating valves to be removed within the next 10 years. This is not with batteries. It can be only with battery-free. And therefore, once again, the EnOcean technology is the most appropriated. Another technology is magnetic field energy, for instance, to measure energy on the electrical panel. Next, because you will ask me, it's very nice what you're saying, Mr. François, but is it reliable? Since how long does exist EnOcean technology? Are there enough experiences, return on that experience? And I will answer, yes, of course. EnOcean technology is now more than 20 years, installed in more than several million of buildings. I would say million of sensors are deployed massively over the world in housing, in buildings, on the streets. It's everywhere. It's a standard technology supported by more than 400 people. No, not people, members, companies with over 5,000 interoperable products. I give you 3 examples. There are more than 30,000 sensors in one building. It's the largest building in Europe and maybe in the world. It's the Square in Frankfurt. 30,000 batteryless and wireless sensors. Since more than 6 years, no problem, no problem. Another experience in France, the Bouygues company has deployed massively this technology in its housing since 5 years. Today is over 20,000 housings equipped with this sensor. That means over 200,000 sensors equipped, installed in these housings. No problem, it works very well. And people are buying it back by Leroy Merlin to add switches and sensors and so on. Another example, it's the schools in Paris with heating valve, no batteries, no wires, and it works also very well. And there are more than 10,000 batteries installed. And another one is social housing in Berlin with Deutsche Wohnen, and there also more than 3,000 housing are already equipped. And now with the war in Ukraine, with a problem with energy, they want to push it back. And now I will give the voice, and I will let Lada mention several projects and how this technology is implemented by OGGA. And you will see what I'm saying is reality. It's already the case, and I let OGGA speak now. Lada, you're welcome.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I will now take the lead. So I will start with introducing myself first. So hello everyone, my name is Lada Plitzak and I'm head of finance and administration at OGGA. And today I am going to present you 3 examples of how energy saving solutions and EnOcean technology can be implemented in very different cases. So to present the company, I will just briefly present it to you. So we are OGGA. We are a French company created in 2014. And we are specialized in energy efficiency. More precisely, we are developing smart home and smart building solutions to optimize energy consumption in buildings, and to bring more comfort to the people who live inside. Today, our solutions are installed in thousands of dwellings all over France and Europe, and they are also labeled Solar Impulse, which is a label given to solutions that have a big environmental impact, that can be massively produced, and that is given to companies where they can produce them massively as well on a financial level. So today we are working a lot with social housing associations, and I am going to present you 3 projects. I will now start with the first one, which is a very good case of how energy saving solutions can be implemented massively. So it's a project with Résidences Yvelines Essonne, a Parisian housing association that has more than 30,000 dwellings in their building stock. And they wanted to install energy solutions and also smart home solutions in all of their dwellings, to bring more comfort to the tenants and to optimize energy efficiency. So they decided to study this question, and after they studied a lot of solutions existing on the market, they finally decided to go with OGGA. And today we are we are installing our solutions in 2,000 dwellings every year. So what is basically installed in such a project? We are installing one of our main products, EcoTouch, which is a small module that is installed in your home that measures and analyzes energy consumption, and by doing so, it adapts itself to the habits of the people living inside. With this solution, we can automatically operate the heating system, monitor energy consumption, and of course display it in real time. We can switch off lightings and devices in standby mode during absences. And in this project, we were also asked to put smart smoke detector monitoring system. We also customized our mobile application for the client as it was their wish. So now I'm going to show you what was important and is important when you want to massively deploy such solutions in thousands of dwellings. So first of all, if you want to deploy them, you need to guarantee that the solution can be installed in buildings with all heat and system types. So it can vary from one building to another. And with our client, we installed solutions in buildings with all heating types, for example, central heating, electric heating, or individual gas heating. Another very important point, fast installation and non-intrusive. If you want to deploy fast, you also need to install the solution fast. And our solution is installed in 40 minutes or maximum 1 hour per flat due to the wireless EnOcean technology. So the housing association can install them even in occupied dwellings, which is very important when you have thousands of dwellings. Another point is that maintenance is not required on such a project because of the battery-less EnOcean technology. So our client doesn't need to send people to change batteries in their projects. Another thing that I would like to mention, and you need to take into account, is that the solution must be scalable. So it means that if you want to add some new services, some new technology, you can do it, and you can add other products, which is the case with our solution and EnOcean technology. Last but not least, it's that the building can probably one day evolve to a smart building with many systems working inside. So it has to be ready to get smart simply. I think many of you will be interested in how much such a solution can cost. So I will just give you an idea of the budget that can be taken into account for such an installation on a massive scale, I want to say. So the basic equipment cost can start from 400 euros tax included per flat. And another point which is interesting for the users this time, that the solutions, they help save up to 35% of the energy, so 35% economy on the bill, which would allow them to reach the return on investment in 2 years. Just to give you an example. I think I will stop with this first example right now. If you have any questions, you feel free to ask me in the chat later on. And now we are going to move to our second use case. Even before we talked about smart home, now we are going to see how such a solution can be implemented on on a building. So we are going from smart home to smart building. This time it's a project called Belle Fontaine with another housing association, Loire Habitat in France. Very important thing about this project is that this is the first residential building at all that has obtained ready to services label. It means that all the systems that are functional in this building are interoperable and they communicate one with the others well. So in terms of installation, we will still have our solution EcoTouch installed, but this time we will operate all the other devices in home. So there is one EcoTouch per dwelling, and it will operate all the other suppliers. We are not only operating our solutions, but solutions of other brands, our partners, and they are all communicating in EnOcean, of course, as in the previous installation. Once we can install these solutions, we can also get information on the energy consumption in real time, and we are transferring this information to our partner. And this partner puts such an information on a special interface for the housing association so that they can monitor it, and also all the information on video, phone services, smoke detectors, operating of different devices are shown to the people who live inside, so they can operate the building as they like. In this project, we could see that what is very important when you implement such an installation is that all these systems, they have to be interoperable. And basically, it allows you to offer many more services compared to just one partner, because different partners with different talents are working on the project together. For example, in this precise project, we could get access control, video, phone, heating operation, roller shot operation, even building monitoring, thanks to all this work of the partners together. Another important point to mention is data security. When we are talking about smart building, we will always talk about data. And of course, data has to be secured. In this case, it is true. Data are secured from the moment when the devices are communicated one with each other, because the protocol is encrypted and secured, and it also goes for the servers and for all the partners that secures the information and the data they will use for this project. I will stop here for this second use case, and I will now move to another one, last but not least. Now we will even see how it is possible to use such a technology on the scale of a city, and how this energy saving solution can basically contribute to making a city smart. I will talk to you about the project Response Horizon 2020, which is a European Union's project. So basically it's funded by the European Commission. And it is a project to create a smart city model and to replicate smart cities in Europe afterwards. So there are 53 partners who work on this project today. We are part of it. The main idea is to create a city where it can produce energy, so a positive energy city, where the city is decarbonized, so we reduce CO2 emissions, where people, they get more services as well. And in order to do so, it is needed to create a city where all the city areas, such as residential buildings or buildings in the tertiary sector, or for example, transport network, are all connected, all communicate with each other, so that we can optimize the energy use as much as possible. And for example, to send energy from the area that produces energy to another one that needs some more energy at the moment, for example. I will not go into more details about this project because it is a very large scale. I will just concentrate is what OGGA is doing on this project in terms of energy efficiency. So we are working on the scale of buildings, of residential buildings. And basically, you will still have our solution EcoTouch installed in each dwelling. So you will have the smart home part and automatic heating operation and so on, as in the previous project. Different thing about the technical part of this project is that we are going to operate the heating system, which is a centralized city central heating system. So it means that we will have to use automated valves that communicate in EnOcean to operate each dwelling individually. It's not the most important thing about this project, because not only do we operate the dwellings, but we also collect data on energy consumption in the building. And our main job is to anticipate the energy peaks in the grid of the buildings in the residential sector, and then to smooth energy consumption levels so that we are able to optimize the energy consumption as much as possible to reach good energy use. So all the partners on this project, they have engaged themselves into reducing CO2 emissions by 75% and reducing energy consumption from 15 to 38%, depending on the area of the city where it is used. So I wanted to show you this project to basically show that with technology existing today, with our solutions, with EnOcean technology, it is possible today to address two major topics that are on the agenda of countries even today, which is energy consumption operations, so to optimize the energy consumption, to use it in the right place, in the right time. And another topic is reduction of carbon emissions today. So I think I am done with my presentation, and it's probably time for questions and answers. So I will let Emmanuel take the lead in this sector.
Thank you, Lada. It was very clear and very, very interesting. Yes, there are already a few questions. One is concerning the heating valve, and the question is when the radiator is off, what happens? Can we power it again on the next the next winter? So the answer, of course, is yes, because these heating valves, most of these heating valves are stay lightly open, so that as soon as the heating is coming back, it brings enough energy to power again the system. And beside it, there is also a small slot in case there is not enough energy, but I know that it's very seldom used, and there is a small slot to power it. And by the way, I want to highlight also that this thermo heating valve will be also certified EU BAC at the end of the year, which is a required certification for energy performance cases in Europe. So it's really the answer. Then maybe I have another question. There is another question concerning the OGGA solution. The OGGA solution. Is it possible to add such a system in a project where it was not included at the consumption stage, Lada?
Yes, thank you, Manuel, for the question. The answer is yes, it is possible. We have a lot of projects where it was not anticipated at all. We are doing renovation projects as well. So the technology is wireless and so on. So we don't need to change the project itself to install our solutions.
Thank you. Yes, and that's the reason why it's very appropriate for this massive deployment we need to make in place, to put in place within the next weeks or months. How is the system also perceived by the tenants? I think you gave the answer, but maybe can you give us a little bit more information how the tenants appreciate it?
Yes, of course, Manuel. So we could see that the solutions are very well perceived by the tenants for the last few years. So basically, it depends on the person what they like the most about the solution. Some like the fact that they can monitor their energy consumption and to adapt their habits to basically have more savings. Other people like the smart home part, where they can, for example, imitate their presence or absence or when they are on vacation. These are just a few examples that I can give to you, but most of the tenants, most of them, they find that the solution is very easy to use and non-intrusive, so it doesn't really change their life, so they can just live comfortably in their home.
That's right, I think, and just your idea to put a switch in every housing, and when you leave the house, you just switch off, and you put your housing in a down mode. I think it's a keyword, because even that, I think you can reach almost 20% of energy saving by putting the flat in down mode and with low energy consumption. But there is another question concerning internet. If there is no internet in the flat, does the solution keep working, or how it works?
Yes, the answer is yes again. So what happens in this case is that our solution has its own Wi-Fi model integrated in the solution. So when there is no internet in home, the solution will still function as it was before. So people won't see any changes in the system.
Very good. And last question I got is, there are also in social housing or housing old people or people who are not well with technology and not using a smartphone. How does it work? Can we use this technology without smartphone and very, very easily?
Yes, I will answer this question as well. So just to give you a small story, when we were developing our solutions, we developed them with social housing associations. So it was necessary for them to have a solution that can be used by any person, whether this person uses technology, smartphones or not. So basically what we do in this case is that each solution has a small wall switch, which is installed just near the entrance of the flat. and it has two buttons. One button is presence button and one button is absence button. And so when the person leaves home, they basically push the the absence button, so the flat is put into the eco mode, so the heating is cut off, the lightings are also cut off. And when they come back, they push the presence button and the flat is functioning in the normal mode, so everything is back to normal. Basically, to set the temperature, we have a small thermostat also for people who don't want to put it on the smartphone, so they can set the temperature they would like to have on this thermostat as well.
Thank you, Lada. I think it was very clear. Maybe as conclusion, I will highlight, you mentioned that in a dwelling, the minimum cost or the investment is around 400 euros. That's right?
Yes.
And we know that globally in Europe, the average cost of heating energy consumption is around 2,000 euros. You're speaking about 20% minimum energy saving. So we see that the return on investment is very, very fast. It's between 1 to 2 years, but more close to 1 year. So I think, we can say here that there is no hesitation facing to the current challenge of energy. We have to deploy this kind of energy solution everywhere in every dwellings right now. Thank you very much, and speak to you to the next webinar. Thank you, Alexandra, for this organizing. Bye-bye.